everybody, today we're going to learn all about halves and how we can have different shapes. It might be a good idea to have some paper nearby. You might even want to use the blank jotter that was included in your pack before we get started. So what is halving? On the screen you can see that there is a whole pizza. This is a pizza before it's been cut or before it's been eaten. Then underneath you can see that the pizza has been cut into two pieces. Each piece is a half, and you'll notice that each piece is exactly the same size. Then at the very bottom you can see that there's one half of a pizza. So boys and girls, this is where I need your help. We're going to be making some halves. On the screen you can see one whole pizza before anybody's touched it or eaten it. I want you to pretend with your finger that you're cutting the pizza in half. So off you go with your finger, down the screen, pretend that you're cutting it in half. Make sure you cut down the middle so that there's enough for you and there's enough for me. Go down really slowly and make sure that the line is as straight as possible. Super. Now you've cut the pizza in half. How many pieces of pizza have you got? That's right, you've got two halves of pizza. Okay, you can see that there's a piece of cake. It's one half. I want you to pretend to match up the other half of the cake with your finger, so match it up. Then I want you to do the same thing, but this time I want you to find the other half of the ice cream. Now, you won't be able to find the other half of the sweet because guess what? I've eaten the other half of the sweet, along with all the other sweeties. So now I want you to have a wee think, boys and girls. When you hear the word half, what other things pop into your head? So I'm giving you a wee minute to think about some other things that might come into your head when you think of the word half. Super, they're all really great things. So when you think of the word half, you might think about sharing things, you might think about the moon when it's in half, and maybe you might think about a half marathon or lots of different things. You might even think about a clock. Maybe you've heard somebody say it's 2:30 or your club starts at 7:30. We say those things because when you look at a clock, the big long hand goes halfway around the clock until it touches 6. But don't worry about that, we'll be looking more at 7:30 and our clocks again tomorrow. But for the meantime, I want you to make sure that you've got some paper in front of you and that you have either a pen or a pencil or colouring pencils. We're going to do a little activity. I want you to get one of your pieces of paper and we're going to rip it into two halves. Now don't do this really quickly. It might also help if you fold the piece of paper over first to make sure that when you're ripping it that the two pieces end up about the same size. So off you go with that. So you should have two pieces of paper or two halves, and if you were to put them back together you would realise that two halves makes one whole. Well done boys and girls. Now here's your next activity. I want you to get another page And I want you to draw a big square. So remember, a square has 4 sides, and each of those sides needs to be about the same size. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I want you to come into the middle and draw a line down the middle of your square. You will notice that your square is now in 2 halves, and that you no longer have a square. You have 2 different shapes. Do you know what that is? Yep, you've got 2 rectangles. Now, your square is no longer a square, and it's no longer 2 rectangles. I want you to change it into a sandwich. So one half is for me, and the other half is for you. My half of the sandwich is going to be a lovely cheese and ham sandwich. Could you colour it in to make it into a cheese and ham sandwich? And then the other half, you can decide whatever you want in your sandwich. And now I want you to get another piece of paper. You're going to draw another huge square. This time, I want you to cut the square in half. But this time I want you to make sure that you don't start in the middle, but that you start at one of the corners. So you're drawing a diagonal line from the top corner over to the bottom corner. Remember to go nice and slowly, and make sure that each side is the same size. What 2 shapes have you got now? Now we're going to pretend that those 2 triangles are 2 slices of pizza. One slice for me and one slice for you. My side, I would like you to decorate it and pretend that it's a barbecue chicken slice of pizza, because that's my absolute favourite. And then at the other side, you can choose whatever type of pizza you want and colour it in and decorate it the way that you choose. Now for one last thing, year 2. This is your challenge. I want you to get the piece of paper that you had cut in half near the beginning of this. So you have a piece of paper that's been cut in half. I want you to rip it in half again. If you think you know what half of a half is, I want you to send me a message on Seesaw. I would love to hear all your answers. Well done, and hopefully I'll speak to you soon. Bye P2.